Welcome to Think, React, Lead podcast. My name is Dom Faussette, executive coach and leadership speaker. I thank you again for showing up today. Whether you're showing up with a smile or showing up with just kind of going through your motions, going through your day, it's okay. I've been there, done that. Some days I'm actually doing it. I can be found on other platforms for social media. We've got Instagram at Dom Faussette and at Think, React, Lead. Facebook, Dom Faussette. Twitter, Think, React, Lead. And of course, the Think, React, Lead podcast on YouTube, YouTube.com/Think, React, Lead. Today, we are going to talk about whether or not you, my friend, are mission focused on what it is you have set out to do. I'll be going back and forth, as you guys know, to my notes and locking in my eyes on you guys to talk directly to you. There are 6 phases to mission fulfillment, and when I talk about mission fulfillment, I'm really talking about vision fulfillment, but we're going to use an analogy as my background is law enforcement and military prior to doing 13 years in the corporate world. But for those of you that don't know, I am now 6 or 7 weeks out of the corporate environment, which is awesome. I'm loving every bit of it. I'm going to talk about stating your position, but before I go further, I got to share a story with you. I recall a time that it was the 4th of July weekend, and I was in law enforcement, and I'm in my patrol car by myself, and I work swing, and I was working overtime. Swing is 2 to 10 typically, and I was working overtime, which puts me 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So it was about 11 o'clock at night, and I drive down this down this street, and I see 5 subjects standing outside, but when I turn around, they all flee into the house. So my spidey senses kick in, and of course I'm young, I'm 23, 24, filled with testosterone and a lot of can-do spirit, if you will. I jump out of my car, and I thought about calling for backup, but I didn't. And as they ran, they locked the door behind them. I jumped out of my car and pursued them, and I started to try to kick in the door. Well, it took me about three strikes to actually kick the door in. And when I kicked the door in, it looked like the 5 people that were standing outside tripled in number. So imagine kicking the door in, and at the time I probably weighed 180 pounds, 185 pounds, and 5'11". So, not like Captain America. And I'm not large enough or prepared enough to take on 15 individuals. And with those 15 individuals came weapons, right, that outnumbered mine. And in seconds, I had to decipher what it was that I was going to do. Now that I've opened up that door, Pandora's box, if you will, I had to engage my 6 phases to mission fulfillment. And they are position, so knowing your position. What are your actions? What are your options, your resources, your non-essentials, and challenges? So my position was I'm standing in the door frame. And, that's that funnel you don't want to be in, especially when weapons are pointed towards you. My actions, I had to make a decision. Do I engage? Do I, take cover, which is literally just stepping out of the doorway and going to the side of the house? Do I retreat? Negative on that one. And then what are my options? Do I immediately hit the emergency button so backup comes? Do I engage? That's another option. My resources, my weapons, my radios, my non-essentials. So my non-essentials in this case were the people that weren't posing a threat compared to the people that were in the room posing a threat. And my challenges, well, ignorance was one of my challenges. But having to face and understand all of these things in seconds is something that we deal with, that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. You don't have to go to work every day, but you do, right? You don't always know your position, but you should. Are you able to articulate your position as it relates to what it is you do and how you're going to get there day in and day out? Maybe you are let's say you're a stay-at-home parent, male or female, it doesn't matter, and you have a vision, but you're not sure how to go about your vision because you don't know if your spouse is on board with what it is that you would like to do. And as we all know, that when you engage, you kick in your front door, there's costs associated with that, right? Whether the cost is time or not. How hard is it for anybody with children or anybody with roommates to maybe set up a studio in their house to do videos, whether it's videos on skateboarding or videos on artwork or videos on anything that you're excited about. And just getting in front of the camera sometimes is just hard. And I tell my clients all the time that have products that they want to sell or businesses that they run, you need to get in front of the camera. Like, you need to be able to get on your Instagram and do a live video, do stories on your Instagram board, on your Facebook page, on Twitter and Snapchat and YouTube, right? You need to be able to do these things, but so many people are afraid to actually put themselves out there because they don't want to make mistakes. My friend, let me tell you this, you're gonna make mistakes. It happens all the time, but guess what? Nobody dies when you make mistakes, right? In law enforcement, as I just shared the story, if I make a mistake in certain fields, right, law enforcement, sometimes in the military, you could potentially kill somebody, right? Or it could cost you your life. But for the majority of us, the mistakes that we make may incrementally hurt our pride. That's a possibility, but that's fine. We can bounce back from that. Mark Twain once said, "The secret of getting ahead is getting started." The secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming task into small, manageable tasks, and then starting on the first one. See, so many times we have these ideas, and this is what my clients do, and I'll typically bring out a whiteboard, and I'll say, "What is your vision? What do you want to do?" And they'll say, "Well, I wanted to sell a product that allows me to get in front of everybody else, because by the time I see the product," and this is a conversation I literally just had over the weekend, "by the time I find a product online, there's already hundreds of thousands of people already selling this product. So, okay, why can't you invent a product?" was my question. And she said, I never thought about that. Okay, so what is it that you want to invent? She said, "I want to invent," and I'm not gonna go into full detail because she'd probably not like it. But what do you want to invent? So she comes up with these ideas, and we start writing all these things down, and we start crossing things out, the non-essentials. And finally, she gets down to 2 items. And she says, "Wow, I'm going to work on that." And then from those 2 items, she actually merged them and starts coming up with all these ideas after idea, idea after idea. And she literally has been texting me all weekend long, telling me her next idea and what she's going to do. And on Monday morning, how she's going to contact the patent office, right? That's excitement. That's passion. That's reigniting or re-engaging that flame, that spark, and that's articulating your position. What is the state of your present environment? And when I say your present environment, I'm talking about mentally, emotionally, and physically. I tell all of my clients that they need to bridge the gap between their mind and their heart, so when they take a step forward, right now you're in the physical, when you take a step forward, everything is in alignment, right? What happens when you have a rifle and you put a scope on top of your rifle and you don't adjust your scope to the winds, the crosswinds? No matter what comes out of that barrel, it's never going to hit the intended target because you haven't adjusted your scope. Well, mentally, emotionally, and physically, all of those things have to be in alignment. I say this to anybody that has a spouse or lives with family members. The people that you're around in your household, if they don't believe in what it is that you're pursuing, that I'm not saying don't move, right? I would never tell you to not to move forward towards your goals and your dreams and your visions, but I am strongly suggesting that you understand that those individuals, your spouse, family members, etc., don't agree or don't like what you're doing, and that's going to drain you potentially emotionally and definitely mentally. But when you're in an environment, let's start with the physical environment, and things are going well, right? Your external environment is going well. Well, that feeds into your mental and your emotional environment. And when all of that is aligned and you're headed downrange with your vision, now the ideas start to pop into your head and you're able to implement the ideas, because these ideas, it almost feels like they're being birthed. They've been sitting inside you for so long, but they just needed the right environment, the right conditions to grow, to be birthed. And then once those things are birthed, you can move forward. How many of you have ever had an idea and you feel it in the pit of your stomach? You're like, man, that'd be a good idea. But it stopped there. That's literally like kicking in a door, serving a warrant, and the suspects are there and you just stand there and look at them. You're not taking action. See, there's the visionaries and the action takers, or the vision makers, if you will. Don't be a visionary. I want you to take the idea. All of us have ideas, right? We're put on this earth to come up with ideas, and never think that you're reinventing the wheel. Look how many tire companies are out there. Do you think one tire company existed and then Pirelli, Michelin, and Goodyear said to themselves, you know what? Dunlop's already in business. We're just going to let them do that because it's a tire. We're not going to reinvent it. No, that's not how that works. There could be multiple products out there, multiple ideas that are being implemented right now that are similar to yours. But guess what? They're not yours. You are extremely unique. Your passion, your vision, I don't care what you believe in, God, earth, any other options that you might have, whatever your passion and your vision is, it was given to you for you to birth. And you have to be able to understand that your mental, your physical, your emotional environment, even though it could be a little bleak right now, doesn't mean you can't stop. You can't start moving. And when you start moving, you're able to better understand what your future vision looks like. So when you take one step, right, you step into the future, which is now the present. You take another step, you step into the future, which is now the present. And you keep on taking those steps. And this, for some of you, is a metaphor. For others, it's physical. But taking those steps nonetheless, emotionally, physically, mentally, is what's going to get you to your purpose. Is what's going to pull you towards your vision. My vision a long time ago, even when I stuttered, imagine this, I'm a stuttering kid in high school. I wanted to act. So I never acted. Like 30-minute play, I'm stuttering, turns into a 45-minute play. Nobody's going to come watch that, right? But it wasn't for me to act. I'm a speaker, and I'm a firm believer that in speaking, 80% of speaking is entertainment, 20% is education, because nobody wants to be educated for an hour long while I'm standing up there speaking. And every speaker knows that you have to entertain your audience. Well, that's my acting. See, inside of me was a desire to act. It just wasn't ready to be birthed at that time. In high school, that's what I wanted to do, but I couldn't because I stuttered. Now that I don't stutter as much, it's easier for me to fulfill my purpose. See, just because you have a purpose inside of you, or a vision or dream, whatever you would like to call it, doesn't mean that now is the time to birth that. But it still means it's time for you to move forward one step at a time. So instead of acting, I would do things, behind the stage, right? And then I've always had a very boisterous persona with my voice, or I've always been loud. We'll just say that. So when I got out of high school, I joined the military. So then calling cadence, I wasn't embarrassed to call cadence because I had this desire to be an actor, but I used my voice to move troops. And then I got out of the military, or while I was in the military, I was K9. Well, when you're K9, you have to utilize your voice to command your dog, right? Then I got out of that, and then I became a cop. Well, of course, as a cop, you're gonna use your voice to gain the attention of a crowd. But as a cop, it's a crowd. Nowadays, it's my audience. So you see how I had a vision, I had a dream, I had a desire that was burning inside of me, but because I stuttered, I couldn't use it. But I slowly but surely, one foot in front of the other, began to utilize what it is that I do naturally for my purpose and positioning today. and high school. So I graduated in 96. Yes, it's been some time. And here we are in 2017. But you see how long it took me to get to where I'm at? I'm not saying it has to take you that long. I'm not here to discourage you, but I do want to provide a realistic approach to what it is that you're going to do and how you're going to get there, right? And I don't care if you're making $20,000 a year. Heck, you could be making $10,000 a year. You can be making $10 million a year. Everybody has something in them more to do than they're currently doing today. So let's wrap up. Next time we talk, I want to bring up the fact that we need to understand what our strategies are to get started and how we're going to bridge that gap between our mind and our heart so we can physically be in line with where we need to go and head down range and hit the target that we plan on tackling. Again, I really want to thank you for taking time to listen or watch the Think React Lead podcast. I enjoy spending time with you guys every Tuesday morning, and gals. And again, I can be found on Instagram at Dom Faussette, Think React Lead, Facebook, Dom Faussette, and YouTube /Think React Lead. I hope and pray that you all have a wonderful day, and I look forward to speaking to you again. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hard work.